Rafi already went over. We're talking about prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So James did prayer a couple weeks ago because for some reason he always ends up talking on a prayer. Last week was fasting, so guess what I'm talking about?
Almsgiving.
Good job! So first, why am I talking about almsgiving? Not the great, religious reasons that Rafi came up with, but, why am I doing this talk? Basically, I was out of town last week when we were doing fasting. I'd be excellent at fasting. I'd be like, there's IF, there's EF, there's an egg fast. What kind of fasting are we doing? No. Really, the reason is that right before the planning meeting, I'm like, I think for this month we should have different people speaking. Sometimes it's always Rafi, and that's great. Sometimes it's... Sure it is.
Sure it is.
Sometimes it's a mix. I'm like, I think it should be a mix, but maybe it's just that I want to talk. Because I had a great talk on a completely different subject. But I'm like, maybe I just want to talk. But the day that we had our meeting, Heather came up and she's like, when are you going to do a talk again? I'm like, I guess I actually am supposed to do a talk. It's okay, I have a great talk. It's all about Martha and Mary, and it's good. And then we had the meeting, and we decided to do prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And the week I'm here is almsgiving. Which I should have known was going to happen as the same prayer time. I had a kind of, my word for personally was to give up your fear of want, which immediately makes me think of back when I was a kid. My dad used to work for a company that worked with GM, but was not GM. And so whenever they had a slowdown in production, whenever they had their 2 weeks automatic vacation, he got laid off. And there was one year, I was about 13, I think he was laid off so much that he started his own company that was just kind of doing repairs for nearby places, because luckily his barn is bigger than our house. And so he could actually repair semis, combines, tractors in his barn. So even though he kind of was working, it was, lean times. And I had a day I was going to a soup kitchen to help out. And after me and my family helped out, we got home, and I overheard, because I was the oldest and therefore I paid attention to what was going on. My sister had no idea what anything was going on, but my parents were having a private conversation in which I overheard that my dad state the fact that he would rather starve than go to a soup kitchen. And at that time, we'd go and get the Food Club mac and cheese, which if you've ever had is not as good as the store brand. No matter what, it's either undercooked or mush. It cost at that time 19 cents a box. We'd make 2 boxes for dinner. There was 4 of us, and again, I was a teenager at the time. I don't know how we did it, because I make 2 boxes of a better mac and cheese for my 2 children, and sometimes we have leftovers, sometimes we don't. So, anyway, what does that have to do with almsgiving? If anything, that is not alms taking. I don't know, it's on the next page. Well, the first thing we have to figure out is, what is alms? Is alms an Old English word for money? No, I looked it up. It's a Greek word. I don't know the Greek word. I can't say the Greek word. The Greek word is Greek to me. But the meaning of it is mercy or compassion. And it was often used in connection with charity. Like, nowadays you give your alms to a charity. Well, the word for charity meant love. And in old-timey Bibles like the King James or the slightly older Dewey Reams, whenever they had the Greek word agape, which we've already discussed means godlike love, perfect love, they translated it charity. So why prayer, fasting, and almsgiving? For this time when we were earlier talking about rending our hearts from the Bible verse that Rafi found and I didn't bother looking up again. Well, it gets you closer to God. First, you have to pray. You have to talk to someone you want to get to know. Then there's fasting, which besides the talk that I wouldn't have given on fasting about, how you can use it great to, get lean and muscle gain and stuff. It's actually about getting rid of stuff in your life that's in the way. You know, if I fast from chocolate, then I'm not spending my time having chocolate. Although, I don't know why you'd fast from chocolate. It seems horrible. But anyway, and then the last one, almsgiving, which means mercy and not simply cash. It's love in action. To go out and give alms is to show mercy on people around you. So, why do we talk about almsgiving this time of year? Well, you know, the giving of the money from Christmas is winding down. We need some more cash. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, someone just threw all their loose change into the envelope, and it was totally to make Brenda count all my loose change and to make my purse lighter, but no, just kidding, because alms is not about money. I put up on the board here, well, Nate put up, but he's not paying attention, so he won't know. Alms is about mercy. So you can give alms without giving money. In fact, some of the people who give the most alms, meaning mercy, are people who don't have money. Like back at my story where we were eating dinners that cost 50 cents, but we gave our time to help a soup kitchen. Now, mind you, I had one of those classes where I had to volunteer, but there was lots of things I could do. They were pretty loose on what volunteering meant. But the rest of my family was actually really volunteering and not doing it because they had a mark off. I worked 5 hours at a soup kitchen. So they were giving of what we did have, which was time. A lot of places will use the idea of the 3 T's of time, talent, and treasure. Some people enjoy the 4th T of tacos because who does not want tasty, tasty Mexican goodness? But the 3 main T's, you know, you can give your treasure, you can give your money, you can give your time, you can help out, you can give your talent. If you have some special gift that you're good at that, you know, besides just, you know, being a body to fill a spot, it's a lot of help. If anyone has talent pushing buttons and remembering what the person's going to sing ahead of time, see me afterwards. I could use more people on screen. So anyway, when I ended up getting almsgiving, and now a lovely story about Martha and Mary and how, you know, she had great faith and no one paid any attention to her. or about fasting, about how, you know, you can do a fasting diet, or you can do mimic fasting, or you can do a water fast. I hate water fast because I don't like water. I thought, I am the worst person to give this talk. For one, I am bad at handing over cash to some charity. First, the ushers never go back in the media room where there's computers. Like, I have to hunt them down. Like, today I was standing in wait. Like, I have my envelope. And he's like, you only got one? I'm like, what? You never go to the media room. Here's my money. But more realistically, the issue is money is an abstract. Especially as, you know, most of the time you write a check, you put it on a credit card, you don't even actually touch what you're giving them. And I like tangible things, which I know sounds silly because you're probably worried about if you brought a number 2 pencil for the test after this, because I've already at 2 talks been known as I'm the academic one who gives you big words to learn. But, like, for example, every year at Christmas, there's a giving tree over at the church here, and I take names. You know, there are local kids that need gifts, and I'll take a name. And there's a meeting ahead of time for the ladies group, and the person in charge of that brings the tags, and I take a name. And then the tags come out, and I take a name. And every time I go to the church, Nate's like, did you take another name? There's only so many names we can take. And I actually have to stop myself from grabbing more, because, you know, you get to the end, and there's like 5 names on this tree, and it's like pathetic. It's like, I want to give you something. And I get the people more gifts than I get my own kids. Now, my kids have 2 sets of grandparents, they have aunts and uncles, they have family friends who like them better than their own nieces and nephews and gives them more gifts, so they are not wanting. But I keep grabbing names because Almsgiving is about mercy, and having been in a situation where we worked adjacent to a big company and therefore whenever something happened, we just lost our job, I kind of understand where these people are from, and I don't want them to have a Christmas without gifts. And so if we were, also over at the church today, and if Deacon remembered to show up, as we had one service in which the deacon did not appear, that was fun. He would have a life lesson, and the life lesson is, think about how you're going to give alms this week. Think about how you're going to grow and rend your heart by not giving cash to a charity. Unless I'm the charity, I will happily take cash or check. I will spell my name for you, it's very tricky. But no, how you're going to go and give mercy, show mercy to the people around you, because that is what almsgiving actually means, and that's why it's one of these 3 pillars that we talk about every year this time when we're trying to grow closer to God.